Hey guys, here goes the first day of my Godzilla-thon. The original, the one that started it all. Godzilla 1954, or Gojira. This is the classic media version. I have it and this is the Criterion version. I have it and the classic media. If you can get them, I strongly recommend both because both presentations have commentaries with their own great facts on them. Now, this is a hard movie to review because what can I say about it that hasn't already been said? This one, simply put, is an essential. I think it belongs on the list of the greatest films ever made. It was a perfect storm of collaboration. Director Ishiro Honda, producer Tomiyuki Tanaka, special effects wizard Eiji Tsuburaya, composer Akira Ikefube, and suit actor Haru Nakajima. Now, when the film begins, you see a fishing boat sink, and the life preserver has a number 5 on it. If you're a Japanese citizen in the audience watching this in 54, this is eerie, because a few months earlier, there was the Castle Bravo nuclear test. Japanese fishing boat, Lucky Dragon number 5, got too close to it and got exposed to the fallout. All the people on the boat died of radiation poisoning. And it even brought a huge tuna scare because people were afraid to eat the fish. Tuna was being tested positive for radiation. It was a scary time. Japan was also the only country to suffer a nuclear attack, so in both cases, the only victims of nuclear attacks were Japanese citizens. Now, around this time, Ishiro Honda and Tomiyuki Tanaka were going to work on a film. It was a co-project between Japan and Indonesia called Beyond the Glory. It was supposed to be about World War II, but because of lingering post-war tensions, the film got canceled. And they made Godzilla to fill the gap in the filming schedule, which we can all say we're glad they did. This film is such a part of film history, and again, this is going to be a little unorthodox of a review, but again, I can't say nothing that already hasn't been said about this film. I would like to talk about one of the key players, special effects wizard Eiji Tsuburaya, who was pegged as a war criminal because he made propaganda films. Yeah, that really puts him in the same league as people that worked at the concentration camps. He did a propaganda film about the attack on Pearl Harbor, and it was so convincing, the U.S. military confiscated it because they thought it was actual footage of the attack. He's the man that designed Godzilla. He designed so many of Godzilla's classic enemies. He was like Ray Harryhausen and Stan Winston and Rob Bottin all rolled into one. He was a phenomenal special effects expert. He made great suits, great miniatures, and stuff that still holds up fairly well today. Now, again, spoiler alert for an over 60-year-old movie, but I am talking more about the Japanese version. If you saw the American re-edit with Raymond Burr, do yourself a favor and watch this one. You will be shocked at the difference. And I don't totally dismiss the Raymond Burr version. That's the version that introduced the rest of the world to Godzilla and helped make him the big thing he is today, so it has its place too. But this film is more haunting and sorrowful. Godzilla's attack is... Look at some of the extras' faces, and you can see the terror in their eyes. It was truly a metaphor for the atomic bomb and the horror that came about it. Godzilla goes through the city. Nothing can stop him. Meanwhile, a doctor named Sarazawa discovered through experiments something he calls the oxygen destroyer, and this weapon can potentially stop Godzilla, but Sarazawa, who, shocker, is a good person and wants to help mankind, does not want to unleash another super weapon into the world after seeing what atomic bombs and H-bombs can already do. He is engaged to be married to a woman called Emiko, although she thinks of him as more as a brother. It's an arranged marriage, and she's in love with a mutual friend of theirs, Ogata. And she wants to break the engagement off and marry Ogata. At one point, he shows her something. It's the oxygen destroyer, but we don't see what it is. And this comes into play after Godzilla's attack. Her father is one of the top scientists in Japan, Dr. Amane, and this man regards Sarazawa as a son, and you see later he also thinks highly of Ogata, but not in the same way. The marriage is arranged. This man is going to be his son-in-law. He not only loves Sarazawa as a son, but respects him as a mutual colleague. Now, after the ship sinks, they send another ship. More ships sink. They go to an island called Odo Island. And that's where Godzilla appears at night after this ceremonial exorcism scene that's done really well because the music slowly cuts into the sound of the wind. And we see a fisherman who survived. The boats get killed when Godzilla destroys a building. Again, another great metaphor for the bomb, that even if it don't directly kill you, which Godzilla still directly killed him, you're going to die from the effects sooner or later. And Dr. Amane adopts someone who lost his family when the village was destroyed. Again, just kind of a nod to the war orphans. And, well, when we get to Godzilla's attack, there's one scene that really stands out. There's a woman telling the kids, soon we'll be with your daddy, and yeah, these kids are too young for them to have been war-off orphans. I interpret it as their father was on one of the fishing boats. And this scene, granted, the suit looks a little bad at certain angles. You can see seams. It looks baggy in other places, but the destruction is still effective. There's a scene in this film where Godzilla's tail smacks into this building. That building was a movie theater where the film premiered. Imagine being in the audience at the premiere and seeing the building you're sitting in get destroyed. Funny story, I believe it was the director and Ashiro Honda and Eiji Tsuburaya. They kind of went on a tour of Japan, of Tokyo, and they were trying to figure out what buildings to destroy in the movie, and they were like, well, we'll blow that building up, we'll knock that building down, we'll burn that building down, and someone had apparently overheard them and called the police, so they had to explain to the authorities about the movie they were making. Not relevant to the movie, but I find it an amusing story. Now, after Godzilla's attack, we get into the aftermath in the emotional high point of the film. We see the destruction. We see the mother who was telling their kids they're going to be with their father soon dead. And Emiko's tore up. She knows about the destroyer, but she's still afraid to reveal it. She tells it to Ogata. They go to confront Sarazawa, and Ogata's like, look, man, she told me about this. Don't be mad at her. She couldn't handle all the suffering. And Sarazawa's afraid to reveal his secret. He's talking about how H-bombs against H-bombs, A-bombs against A-bombs, and how the cycle never ends. And for those of you that may think that's a little funny, Albert Einstein, and give me a minute here, felt the same way after he realized what happened when his works led to the atomic bomb. So it's nothing new. Serizawa is a tortured soul. He was quoted as saying, "The release of the atom and the power has changed everything except the way of thinking. The solution is the problem lies in the heart of mankind. If only I had known, I would have been a watchmaker." And that's the position Dr. Serizawa was in. A scuffle breaks out because he goes to destroy his research, and Ogata gets his head cut open. Serizawa is immediately remorseful. And this very emotional scene, I teared up while I was watching it, where they play a song called The Prayer for Peace comes on, and it plays over scenes of the destruction and the even relief crews. You can take this song and apply it to, if you're old enough to remember 9/11, this song and these lyrics would fit over footage of the aftermath. And Serizawa makes the decision to use the oxygen destroyer. He burns his note, and Emiko said she doesn't want to marry Serizawa, but she loves him like a brother, and I think she's got a good inkling he's going to kill himself. The next scene, they're on the boat, and Serizawa tells Ogata, "Look, you're not going down. I'm the one that knows how to use the weapon. I'm doing it." Ogata refuses, says, "I'm going down with you. This is no... Diving is no... You can't do this and be a beginner. You need my help." There's a nice touching scene where Dr. Yamane puts his one hand on each of their shoulders and tells Ogata, "I'm counting on you to get this done. You two be careful." And you can see he does have a lot of love and respect for both men. They set off the oxygen destroyer. Well, first, Serizawa sends Ogata up. He sets it off, and his last words tells them be happy together, and he cuts the cables. Godzilla dies. In Dr. Yamane, it's the great way to end the film, talking about Godzilla can't be the last of his kind, and if we continue to test nuclear weapons, there will be another Godzilla. This film is a 10 out of 10. It's an essential, one of the greatest films ever made. The next time you even watch something like Alien or Predator, you owe that to Godzilla, because that's where suit making came from. This is one of the most important films in film history, and made all the more powerful by the phenomenal score by Akira Ikafube, one of the greatest film composers of all time. I even put him above John Williams. He considered his two greatest pieces of work this film and 1995's Godzilla vs. Destroyer. This film was just a perfect storm, and it deserves its place in film history. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below if you've seen either or both versions of the movie. Tell me what you think, and even hit dislike if you want. Alright, bye.